My people, welcome back to Trending Room. So finally, Dele Farotimi has been released from custody after meeting bail conditions. His arrest on defamation charges sparked nationwide protests and debates about freedom of speech in Nigeria. Upon his release, he addressed Nigerians, reaffirming his commitment to truth and justice. In his words, I have never lied against anyone. The truth remains our most potent weapon against systemic injustice. There is no doubt Farotimi's case has ignited a crucial conversation about the state of justice in Nigeria. His stance serves as a reminder of the power of truth in the face of oppression. I'll allow you watch this video, but before you do, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you get notifications when we post an update.
I need all of you to know is this. I am not unmindful of the sacrifices that you have made to be here today. May the grace of God find and locate you wherever you are. Amen. It is not ever an easy journey when you are fighting evil. Yes. But some years back, before I started this work, God told me very clearly, and I heard it very clearly. It says, once have I spoken, once has he spoken, twice have I heard. He says, the truth is enough. It is the only weapon by which you can slay the monster called Nigeria. The truth, nothing else. In my public advocacy, in my fight and my wars against this evil empire that we all live in, I have never lied against anyone. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. Ask to speak to you like this, especially at such close quarters. The last time I requested to speak with the press, it was in 2021 when I had credible information that there was an active murder plot against me. I spoke at the time only after I had submitted petitions to the Nigerian police under the leadership of Akim Odumosu as the police commissioner at the time. My petition was specifically addressed to his office. He is today of the Lagos State Park Services. At the time, I mentioned 3 names with specificity. Included amongst the 3 at the time is a traditional ruler in Lagos State. I did not go to social media to mention any names because my intention was not to scandalize, but to seek the due protection of the law. I equally copied this letter to the Director of State Security Services in Lagos State. These petitions were duly received, but neither were acted upon. That was in 2021. I trusted to God for my safety, and unlike many others, I refused to flee Nigeria, even in spite of the knowledge of the fact that people in very high offices were after my life. I did not go to social media. I wrote due petitions to state security services and to the Nigerian police. Duly received, names specifically mentioned, nothing was done. There were 6 persons in that meeting. I mentioned only 3 names. Now, fast forward. On the 11th of November, we received, a letter was received in my former office, my law practice, where the office had left now, inviting me to Zone 2, Onikon, that's the Lagos and the Nigerian Police Command Zone 2 at Onikon. A letter signed by DCP, I believe Nwoga or something. The DCP signed the letter. And they were said to be on a dispute resolution or something along the line, and my attention was required. I received that letter on Monday the 11th, right? Yes, Monday the 11th. And I was required to come on Wednesday, the 13th. I had a medical appointment that morning, a very urgent one. I shelved it. I attended Zone 2. They asked me to be there by 10 o'clock. I was there. I was there by 9:45. On getting there, I was presented with a petition written by a lawyer purporting to act for no less a person than the very best friend of our president in the Nigerian branch, Mr. Tony Elumelu, alleging that I had defamed him and cyber-stalked him. I struggled to maintain my composure because I was exceedingly provoked by the frivolity of the stupid, very stupid, self-indulgent petition. But I answered it because I was asked to write a statement. And I wrote my statement, owning each and every word that he alleged that I said in defamation of him. The IPO then took my statement and the file to see the DCP, who had signed my letter of invitation, and I was asked in. I'm giving you this background because they are all germane. Yeah. The gentleman, I believe DCP Nwoga, then said I should be given bail and I should go. And whenever they needed me, they would send for me. And I felt that this was classic police harassment. So I told the gentleman, I have written a statement in response to a clear allegation. There are no ambiguities. I have not denied what he claimed that I said. But I am saying that there is absolutely no crime. There is absolutely no crime to be found in what I had said. And what did I say? Somebody asked me on Twitter. Somebody tagged me and asked a question. The person asked if I thought Mr. Tony Elumelu might, in 2027, support a person like Peter Obi to become the president of Nigeria, just as Elon Musk had done similarly in America. And I answered, how can you possibly be asking that of Tony Elumelu? Tony Elumelu is a member of the Nigerian ruining class. A veritable member, a beneficiary of the system. Why would he fight against the system? I think then I translated the Yoruba proverb, I said he's an impoverished rich man. That was the extent of everything I said. At best, you call that vulgar abuse. So I was actually quite irritated that a man has... I expect that someone like Tony Elumelu should be too busy to be nitpicking about what opinion anybody might have to say, whatever anybody might have to say about him. Least of all, someone like me, tiny me, who am I that I am of interest or that he cares about what I have to say? I'm admittedly a madman. I told all of you severally. So I didn't think I should be of interest to Tony Elumelu. So I was irritated, and I made my irritation clear. And I told the gentleman, DCP Nwoga, if you have a charge for me, keep me in your cell. Today is Wednesday. At the latest, by Monday, you should be done drafting your charges. So keep me in your cell. When it is Monday, you would have been done with filing your charge. You can then take me to court. They didn't build your cell for goats. The people in there, they are not animals. Me, I'm not taking bail. At this point, he went up to what I now later realized was the AIG's office. Long story cut short, after some back and forth, the AIG asked us to come in because Nwoga was in, we were outside. I was outside. Nwoga. You pardon me, I don't know how to pronounce this, everything. So we were outside and we were eventually asked to come in. And it was at that point that I recognized that lawyer. The lawyer who wrote the petition had been hanging around whilst my statement was being taken, whilst I was in the DCP's office. I didn't know who he was, but now he was in the AIG's office. And the AIG asked him, do you have the authority of Mr. Elumelu to write this petition? He said, yes, he did. So the AIG said, well, you would have to tell your client to write us himself under his own hand to ask for Mr. Farotimi's prosecution. I was incensed that he would be asking that But I could also recognize the delicacy of his position. Here is the very best friend of Mr. President who just went to France with him, demanding the prosecution of an irritant like me. Who was I? But the AIG used his discretion, and me, I'm a Yoruba boy. When somebody has tried to diffuse a situation, I accepted the way he diffused the situation. So, he asked us to go. He told the man who had been talking bail that Mr. Farotimi is not unknown to you. When you asked him to come, he came at your invitation. I'm sure if you need him again, you can always ask him to come. You will soon understand the importance of this background. Just bear with me. So, when we got back downstairs, DCP turned to me and said, come back next week, Thursday. I had things already scheduled for that day. I did not argue. I became aware that some men purporting to be policemen from the Ekiti State Police Command were in Lagos on a mission to abduct me. I believe the Ekiti State Police Command is under the Zone 2 at Onikon. I was at Onikon repeatedly, and nobody was aware of any form of interest in me by the Ekiti State Police Command, or any police formation for that matter. So at this point, knowing and being very familiar with the evil forest that we call Nigeria, because that is what we have built. So living in this evil forest, it became particularly clear that I must be very careful with my movement because there were kidnappers on the prowl, or perhaps hired killers, because this could definitely not have been policemen. I wasn't missing, I wasn't lost, my whereabouts was not unknown. But these persons were intent on abducting me. Knowing all of this, I was forced to avoid publicizing the funeral services of my father-in-law, which took place in Ibadan last week. I had to be moving around like a prey, being hunted by persons who are meant to be paid by my taxes for my protection. Things got to a head on Friday afternoon when one of my domestic staff was about to be abducted in this same attempt at getting me. He was told that he had a parcel. But I had already raised the threat level in my household and everywhere around me. And the young man was conscious enough to avoid being abducted. But these persons abducted the security staff of a company in which my wife had as interests. And we had to strive to have this person bailed by that evening. Now, this was where it began to get interesting, because now I had to try and find out exactly what was going on. And I thank God for grace, because we must all become very clearly aware that there are times when you will be waiting to find angels with wings. But the angels that will be sent to you might not come with wings. But there have been men and women who stepped up to the plate in the last couple of days with information, and information is power. It came to my knowledge that there is a charge that had been fraudulently preferred against me before a court in Ekiti State at the instance of Chief Babalola. This charge had been fraudulently preferred, hidden from view, and the court had purportedly demanded my presence multiple times, and I had failed to appear before this court. And this court had then proceeded to issue a bench warrant for my arrest. This is classic Babalola. I detailed his corruptive influence in my book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. And what he has done is exactly what he has always done in hiding. But he has done it this time again. And the calculations were that I would have been picked up, taken before this judge who must have either been compromised or misled in Ekiti. And I would have been remanded in prison custody for being somebody who was meant to face trial and who had refused to bring himself to court. I am reliably informed that social media influencers had been paid to spin these narratives after my arrest. Human rights activists have been positioned to start speaking after my arrest, including one Agbaya. High offices in this country have been compromised in pursuit of my persons. High offices, from the Inspector General's office, because the police have been subverted. The Attorney General of the Federation needs to examine himself because his office has been somehow linked to this as well. I do not know if the presidency is directly involved in this, and I will not make frivolous charges. But high offices have been subverted in pursuit of a criminal purpose. I have committed no crime, done nothing wrong. If I have committed any wrong for which the state requires my attendance in a court or at a police station, they know exactly where I live. I will live only once, but I will not live cowering to any man. Let us be clear. If and when I have a charge to answer before a court, you all know where I live. I'm not hiding, and I'm not running away from anybody. Let us be very clear about that. I will never run away from Nigeria. We all have to pretend that we are in a democracy, and we have to pretend that we are citizens, and we have to pretend that we are a country ruled by law. And by all means, you will pretend that we are. I have done nothing. And if I have a charge that should be preferred against me, bring it on. I'm happy to come to court to have my day. If there is a crime, there must be justice, not only for the person who is aggrieved. There must be justice for the accused. And there must also be justice for the system. This is not how to build a rule-based system, where the system itself becomes so criminal that policemen were engaged in criminality. I was at Zone 2 twice. But this, they never reported in any police station in Lagos. Never. This was a rogue operation designed to achieve a criminal purpose. Gentlemen of the press, I am a Nigerian, what and all. I'm not different from any one of you, but I desire a better Nigeria. And in my desire for a better Nigeria, the only weapon I have employed, whilst others have picked up guns, whilst they've picked up lies, blackmail, the only weapon I have ever used is the truth. It is sufficient both as a weapon and as a defense. If you are not happy with anything I have said, whether it is the one that is busy complaining that I say that he's an impoverished rich man, or the one that is angry that I told the truth of his corruption of the society, or any one of them that are angry about what I have done, the only thing that binds all of us, and by which we are bound, is fidelity to the truth. If I have done anything wrong, drag me to court. Stop all this underhand surreptitious move, and let me be very clear. A petition is on its way to the National Judicial Commission. Let it find out exactly who this judge is. I will not dignify this fraud. I will not dignify it. I have already filed the Fundamental Human Rights Enforcement suit against all the parties, and I will submit all the necessary petitions both to the Police Service Commission and to the Judicial Service Commission. This is fraudulent, and is fraud in the face of the entire nation. Thank you very much.